Tropical storm Gorio or Rumbia continuing to pull away from the Philippines today, and it did bring some gusty winds and heavy rainfall across the Manila metro area here through the early morning hours on Sunday. Conditions are rapidly improving though, and very well likely if you are here across most of the Philippines here on Sunday, conditions have rapidly improved. But that doesn't leave out the fact that there was several reports of minor landslides in and across the Philippines. Approximately 1,600 families impacted due to this storm system, mainly just due to the heavy rain, the flooding, and those landslides that we did see. But now it's pulling off here towards the west. Satellite imagery shows much clearer conditions filtering in behind it. You're still going to see that monsoonal flow hit some areas out here, no doubt towards the south and Palawan. You're still going to see some heavy rainfall and still expect some scattered showers to pop up through the afternoon hours here into the Manila metro area. But for the most part, the bulk of the activity is farther off here towards the west. We do have that vertical wind shear coming in from the northeast. That's likely going to have some sort of a toll on it, pushing those higher cloud tops towards the west. It also is having a toll on it as far as the exact track of this storm system, because it does look like most recently the track has shifted farther towards the west. Vice yesterday when we saw it pushing towards Hong Kong, it does look like it's going to move really right around Henan, even towards the west of Guangzhou. So this is a less populated area, still fairly highly populated, but not as much as a little bit farther towards the east. So that'd be some good news. Also, many of the agencies expect us to get a little bit stronger, up to about severe tropical storm intensity, mainly due to the fact that it's going to have more time over waters for starters, but also that lower vertical wind shear once it pushes out here. Sea surface temperatures rather warm, and that high pressure ridge is going to provide sufficient exhaust aloft. But we just take a look at the streamline analysis. Now this is just the overall background flow, and follow it here. It likely is going to move off into that direction. But there's still that cone of air, and I do think that it still could go from Henan over towards Hong Kong, but right in the middle there, at least according to what we are seeing here on Sunday, that seems like the most logical course for the storm system to go. Let's take a look at some of the model outputs. Now this is GFS by Monday afternoon, pushing off here right in there to Guangdong, Fujian province. Really is going to be bringing this heavy rainfall though with it as it does continue to push onshore, and that's going to be another major impact. This coastal flooding possibly as it does continue to mush closer and closer there. Still going to be seeing those gusty and gale force winds into the Hong Kong area, especially once you get into the bay there, the harbor. It does look like some of these areas could see some funneling with it. Let's pull up the ECMWF, the high resolution 16-kilometer model, and we'll just make a landfall here around Wyoming. And remember, this is tropical storm strength winds, the severe tropical storm strength winds. So not so much of a storm surge into the right front quadrant of it, where those winds will be pushing onshore right across this area. But what you will be seeing is likely some beach erosion, some low-lying flooding right near the coast, and then the heavy rainfall farther inland, which these areas do not need it. The ground is already saturated because that seasonal rainy season front has been hitting you quite hard this year there into southeastern China. Now granted, we did see no reports of any deaths across the Philippines due to this tropical storm, at least thus far. No one's missing either, which is thankfully some very good news. I know if you're in the United States, for example, and you hear a tropical storm, you would think, yeah, of course there's no deaths. But here in the Philippines, that's actually rather good news. But as far as this pushing off there towards southeastern China, where you have been seeing the heavy rains, I think there will be a serious case of flooding. Also because of the fact that, well, the upper level winds where this is going to be making landfall, not so strong out here. So it's not going to get wrapped up, and it's not going to push off ever so quickly like we do see with some tropical systems. And then as it does continue to drift off there towards the northwest, actually this is going into Tuesday. Let's pull up the MSL, these areas here, the upper level winds a little bit stronger to our tropical system. Just that heavy rain continues to push across here. Also northern Vietnam, you're looking at some heavy rain possibly out here. Storm system's not going to get wrapped up with this front, and it doesn't look like it's going to usher off here really quickly. So it's just going to have to rain itself out. And when we get situations like that, when that happens, especially out here in northern Vietnam, southern China, there always is, well, the end result of some flash flooding and even landslides. So some serious stuff to watch here throughout the next several days. The storm is definitely not over yet. It still has plenty of time to redevelop and regroup out here into the South China Sea after impacting you there in the Philippines. Then it's going to move off there towards the west. So we're going to continue to keep you updated and posted on it here at westernpacificweather.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them down into the comment box below. And as always, everybody, stay safe out there.